are at Bad Creek, and this is the gate entrance right here. This is all Duke Energy property, so we're going to flash the road directions up on the screen. Once you follow the signs on the road to Foothills Trail, this is where you end up. It's basically just a parking lot with a porta potty, and then there's the trailhead. This hike will take you through some mountainous terrain in upstate South Carolina. Be advised, there is a trail, it's well maintained, but you need to move slower and more cautiously in mountainous terrain because you can sustain a lot of injuries, especially to the ankles, the shins, the knees, and also make sure that you're wearing a good pair of hiking shoes and or boots. The trailhead starts here. You want to follow this sign straight ahead. It takes you through like a little orchard area. I say that because it looks like an orchard. We're going to Lower Whitewater Falls. Okay, it says 1.7 miles, but online I've seen 2 miles. So just be prepared. Off to the left here, you'll see the orchard, like I was saying. Looks like a bunch of trees were planted there on purpose. And then if you pay attention on the left-hand side, you'll also see a helipad up here. You'll see the windsock up on a pole. You can't see it through the trees here, but I can see it with my eyes. And you follow that on through, and then eventually you'll break into the wood line. Okay, this can be a little tricky. This is where I came from, right from the trailhead. And then when you get up here, you see a sign. Okay, it says Lake Jocassee straight ahead, Bad Creek to the right. You came from Bad Creek, so that makes sense, to the right. But straight ahead, there's a little footpath, and I've never been down that. I assume it's just a path that leads eventually down to Lake Jocassee. But you don't want to go that way. You don't want to turn that way. You want to keep following the trail up here through this stand of trees that I said looked like an orchard, right? That's where you want to go. Keep going that way. Once you're in the wood line, you just follow the trail. That's the beauty of trails. As long as you don't get off them, you're not lost. And the next thing you'll see is the metal, and I think it's got some wood in it, footbridge that goes over the Whitewater River. And that'll be probably your next outstanding visual landmark. Don't forget, this part of the trail has blue blazes, single blue blazes. And what this is a spur trail that leads you from the Bad Creek parking lot to the Whitewater River. And then it rejoins there with the Foothills Trail. And you can continue up the mountain to Upper Whitewater Falls, or you can continue on toward the Thompson River. And there's also a detour to Lower Whitewater Falls, which is where we're going today. Okay, as you're following the trail, you're going to hit this bottom area where there's some down trees and it gets relatively flat, but that's because you're approaching the river. And the first little side path you're going to see is this one here, and it leads off to a part of the Whitewater River. But to reach that landmark I was talking about, you keep going just a little further to the footbridge. Okay, here is the footbridge. Actually, I neglected to mention, it's actually a double footbridge. It goes over one landing of rocks, then another bridge, and there's actually a bench on the other side. Now, this is the Whitewater River, and for fishing purposes, you can go up and down this section right here using this little side trail. It's called Coon Branch Natural Area. It's another 1.5 miles upriver. It basically dead ends up ahead, but it gives you a lot of access points to the river to actually fish in. Of course, you can cross the river and go down either way, up or down, but you're going to be bushwhacking it a little bit to reach some spots. Okay, here's the bench I was talking about, and if you go a little further, you're going to see the signs for the trail to continue. Now it splits, actually. If you want to go to Lower Whitewater, you just go straight ahead. If you're going up to Upper Whitewater, you turn left. Alright, here's the turn. You're on the trail from the river up until you hit this point here. You can either keep going left to the Thompson River or straight ahead 0.9 miles to the Lower Whitewater Falls overlook, which is where we are going right meow. you're going to come to this gate here, and it links up with the gravel road there. There's a sign over there that says ATV unloading area. I think you can actually drive down here at some point, but I'm going to go ahead and follow the blazes because I still see blazes and a trail. Okay, just after this ATV unloading area, I can see more blazes heading down the road this way. The road also goes this way. Alright, so after you've been on the hardball for a minute, you're going to see a side trail like this heading up the hill. Okay, now here's the overlook. I'm just going to walk up here because I've never even been here before, so let's see how close it gets us. Not very close, I suspect. But let's see what this overlook has to offer. Oh, shoot. Yeah, there you go. We'll just hold it here for a minute. Ooh. This actually is a better or comparable view to Upper Whitewater Falls, except that you have to walk 2 miles to get here. Upper Whitewater Falls, if you want to just drive there, that's a lot easier way to see a waterfall. But this is nice. This empties out into Lake Jocassee, and like I said, this is the Whitewater River. There's not much to look at off to the left, so I'm just going to keep it here for a second. Very nice. So to sum it up, the mileage on this hike is right at 2 miles one way, so 4 miles round trip from the Bad Creek parking area. It's about 0.3 miles down to the river, the Whitewater River, and then once you cross the river, you've got that 1.7 mile section before you reach the overlook we just saw. So that's the mileage. The difficulty, I found it pretty challenging, and I think I'm relatively in shape. Out of 5 stars, I'd give it 3.5 for difficulty. The trails are pretty well maintained. There's not too many big obstacles. There are some uphills and downhills that are, well, the uphills are challenging. Downhills can be challenging, but for different reasons. You know, downhill is challenging more on your feet and your ankles and the shins. So, is it worth it? Well, maybe once. I'm not coming back to the outlook or the overlook because I like to be closer to my waterfalls than that.